But
How are you?
how are you? I'm tired, but I'm good. How are you, Ben?
I'm good. As I mentioned in the off screen, I am retraining my Instagram. I'm going to Japan next year, and Instagram, because I'm a 47-year-old male, tends to show me lots of pretty individuals. Because I've been looking at Japan stuff, it has like sent me deep into like dangerous territory. So I'm trying to like retrain it that I want like exercise content and stuff like that. But it anyways, I will tell you why like I'm on Instagram period. And it has something to do with today's topic, so I'll get to that seg at some point. But anyways, hello
Oh, I'm excited.
everyone. Welcome to the Thursday temperature check. My name is Ben Klein. I'm the Chief Recipe Officer at Proposal Industry Experts, owner of BK Jam and Consulting, or Geek Proposals. I can't remember what I'm branded as currently, but one of those two businesses.
I
uh,
can't believe you don't know this.
yeah, yeah. And with me today is the absolutely fabulous Rachelle Ray, our Chief Baking Officer, Bakers Officer. We were, yeah,
Something like that. The,
we
the the
we
people person. The people person.
we make these titles up, you
And
know.
things happen. I love it.
Owner of Armo Consulting, and also critical to today's podcast, one of the principal speakers on Burnout Banter, uh, which is your go-to resource for understanding burnout. And I can't remember what episode it is where you alluded to like doom scrolling,
Oh man. Oh
but
man. Yes.
yeah. So I have been searching for Japanese stuff, like to help my wife, because my wife often says that like she enjoys planning vacations, but she feels a mental load that she is responsible for coming up with all of the like good ideas of things that we're going to do. So Kurt and I have both gotten on to, Instagram and Facebook and everything like that, and scrolling through like other people's like fun ideas, as a way to like support her on this. Now the difficulty is I tend to delete Instagram, um, because the nature of our job is that I have this like low level pressure slash stress all the time. And if I go to bed with that, or even if I wake up in the middle of the night with that, sometimes it feels good to get that dopamine hit of like doom scrolling. But
Okay.
ultimately, I pay for that a little bit later. Um, I experience difficulties. Thanks, Beth. I'm not sure where you're going with the let's go, but I'm going to say thank you anyways.
Let's go delete Instagram. Let's
Yeah.
go Japan. It could be a lot of things.
Uh, yeah, Beth, if you want to come to Japan, let me know. I'm taking my kids. You like, yeah, feel free. Like we'll get something good going on here. Um, anyways, long and short is, so I guess uh Pi has always been like an advocate of like, hey, self-care, take care of yourself. Like set property boundaries in your job and your business and stuff like that. And of course, as one of the founders, I would love to see that like I'm taking all of that. Oh, the supportive spouse. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, fair, fair. In my super minor way, like she's booked the hotels and the planes. All I've done is like, this seems like a good idea. Let's go here.
Hey,
But
that's important.
fair
I'm
enough.
trying to be in London with my sister and her fiance as well, and I'm like, I don't know, guys, just throw things at me. And when
Yeah,
they throw things at me, then I know what to do. Like, it's don't discount that, Ben. It's very important.
fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So yeah. So and this is Q4 for a lot of businesses and stuff like that. And I just want to tell you, like, I want to tell the audience, I'm not a good follower of like good burnout regimen, like burnout protection regimens right now. And so I wanted to talk to Rochelle about this. Um, because I'm experiencing a lot of pressure. I'm not sleeping as well as I should be. I don't know if you can see the bags under my eyes, or the fact that I didn't do my hair today. But I know, short hair, it's great. I can just, um, but yeah, like I'm definitely not taking care of myself. Like this morning or last night, I stayed up with a salesperson until 10:24 at night, which is 2 hours past my regular bedtime. And then I woke up this morning at 4:30, thought, oh, maybe I'll try to go back to bed, and ended up not going back to bed and going downstairs and starting work early. And that's just the nature. Like I feel this overwhelming need and to like keep working because all these salespeople are feeling a little bit of crunch or a little bit of desperate. I really want to support them because I care about them, right? I also care about what I do, and I want to do a good job and stuff like that. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm definitely feeling burnt out. I'm not exercising as much. I am not doing any kind of self care routines. The good news is I'm not procrastinating, but that's probably because I'm like forcing minute to minute like stuff inside each one. So, Stephen came on. Thank you, Stephen.
Sweet.
Stephen came on 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago now, and told us about like setting good boundaries and saying no. And I'm not doing that right now, Stephen. Um, I am not. So, anyways, I I wanted to talk about burnout today, and I wanted to talk about burnout around the holidays because this should be a joyous time for us, and often it isn't. So there you have it, Rochelle.
Ah, I love this. I have a lot of thoughts on this. If anybody follows me on LinkedIn, you might have noticed that I actually posted about this morning. That I have been very open about being burnt out for almost the entirety of this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's been a combination of getting myself worked up into that frenzy mode, and for me, it's hard to differentiate between, like, I'm excited about the work that I'm doing, and I'm just piling things on because I'm in this, like, high productivity, so I'm like, "Let's do it, we can do it." Not, like, accounting for, "I need to rest," and I think a lot of proposal professionals, because we're, like, as you and Steven talked about in the people-pleasing episode, we are often yes people.
Mhm.
And so we like hit that high and we're doing really good, or we are, like we just turned something in and it went really well, we got a win, whatever it is, we're like, yeah. And so we just keep taking on more without looking at the buffer time. Or we start giving things up and it's like, okay, I didn't go on my run this morning, but it's not a big deal. It's only one day. And then one turns into two, and then two turns into three. And like that slippery slope just keeps happening. But because you're kind of like the frog in the pot, that burnout really creeps up on you and you keep telling yourself it's fine, this is normal until it becomes normal.
Mhm.
And then the holidays come and we get that extra stress because holiday burnout is a real thing on top of professional work burnout. And then I think that's when we all kind of just like freak out because it just becomes overwhelming and it's too much. And the heat on that pot is now unbearable. So
Yeah.
we have to do the same thing in reverse. It's really hard to just say like, all right, I'm going to take a day off because I need to breathe, or I am going to say no because I can't take on this assignment. Like it's really difficult to just suddenly put those boundaries back into place. So you have to do the same thing that you were doing as the frog in the pot, turning up the heat. You have to turn it down incrementally.
Yeah. So in a perfect world, Ben Klein at the beginning of the year would put into place like practices that he would follow the entire year, like live or die. Hey, I'm gonna make sure that I do 4 pieces of exercise or like 4 things to get my heart rate up or something like a walk a kilometer every week kind of thing. And like I would just put these like minor things in place and keep building on them over the course of the year. But I'm not I'm not really good at that. And so
No,
I tend to have like in spring I'm very good. Come summer I'm kind of good about the latter half of summer for some reason. And then fall I'm usually pretty okay at it. And then winter comes and I like fall off the cliff. Like Q4 comes and I like drop everything. So have you encountered in your career experience like it's too late for me to like, hey Ben, I'm gonna follow this program because we all know that if I try to like add on a million things, all I'm gonna do is stress myself out, right? Like if I'm like, hey Ben, starting tomorrow, you're going to go to bed at 8. You're going to eat like, you know, 1 kilogram of veggies and fruits every day. And you're going to make sure that you get a run every other day, right? Like if I add all that to myself, one, it's not going to happen. I'm going to feel frustrated with myself and I'm going to be upset. But like, um, I need to do something. Otherwise, I'm going to start getting snappy at people, or I'm going to crash come January, right? Like
Yeah.
after I've gotten past the holiday rush. So, do you have like I don't know, like have you encountered in your times with like Jeff and everything else? Like, have you encountered some sort of tip that like we can incorporate, or like just fun little things that we can do, or what's the suggestion? I guess at this point for like kind of getting it down.
The thing I love that Jeff says is it's all practice. So that kind of changes that mentality of I didn't do it, so I failed.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, okay, I'm gonna try and eat healthy tomorrow. And if you order out and you get a burger instead of a salad, like, well, you tried. So then that was practice and you didn't do so great at practice. So we'll try again the next day.
Okay.
Or you try to go for that run and you make it down the street and then you're like, actually, I'm not here, like mentally present. Then you go back home and you try again tomorrow. And that I think is really helpful because we tend to look at things as black and white. And that's what I meant about dialing things up incrementally. So, like, don't try to eat your kilogram of veggies, go for your run, go to bed at 8, delete your Instagram. Like, don't do all at once to really setting yourself up for failure. But, like, if you
Mhm.
pick one of those things, like, I'm going to go for a run because it helps me clear my head. Cool. That's a win. The next
Yeah.
day, I'm gonna go for a run and I'm gonna have salad. That's 2 wins. Awesome. And if you only do one of them, cool, you still practice one thing. So, Jeff always talks about the practice portion, and I think that's super helpful. Also, I have to point out Steven's comment here in the comments
Oh, yeah. This is
about,
great.
the joke between my manager and I since February has been we just got to get through this week and then we can breathe since February and it's almost December. I feel this deep, deep in my soul. And I feel this throughout the industry as well. Every time I post about burnout, I get this whole echo of same boat, me too, I'm there as well. And I feel like we can also lean on each other for that a little bit. When you start seeing yourself sinking, that's when you need to reach out for help because it's the other thing that burnout does to us. It makes us want to isolate
Mhm.
and just take it on ourselves. But when we reach out to other people, they can hold us accountable. So I can text you, Ben, and say, did you go for your run today? Or do I need to Uber Eats you a salad today? Or, lean on your people, lean on your network.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
She says
Fair.
that she does not do.
Do you need me to Uber Eats you a salad? Like, all
You
right.
added to my meal planning last week. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. So I mean, if I'm going to coalesce that suggestion, then the idea is to not put a like strong expectation on yourself, like you were attempting to do a practice. So just pick something, say that you're going to try to do it, and if you don't do it, don't beat yourself up and try to do it again. And maybe is the goal kind of like journaling in that regard? Like, hey, just the thought about like thinking about trying to do something nice to myself will gradually lead to me doing something nice for myself, right?
I
Like,
so yeah, it's kind of like when I get burnt out, I get to this point where I literally can't even watch TV because my brain that's too much for me.
yeah,
Like I kind of just have to stare into the void. And it took a while to retrain my brain to look at that not as unproductive laziness, but
yeah,
as rest, like required rest and recovery time. And so those slowly became like I was able to take that time where my body was forcing me to stop and then turn it into like a more intentional recovery. So I was able
right.
to read a book or I was able to just sip tea and think about things because that's important too, right? So kind of listening to your body and your brain are telling you things for sure.
Oh, that's a really good point, actually, Rochelle. And I like obviously your comment there because like um I do sometimes crash and I don't want to get my next project started. And usually it happens like right after I accomplish something, like one of the major milestones inside a bid process, I just kind of like, hey, if it's an hour and a half before the end of the day, well, pens up, I'm done, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not intentional about it. I'm just like, I know, like I have I state to myself that I will start like the next part of my project, but I just don't. I don't pick it up because I'm burned out. And instead I watch TV. And then of course what happens is in an hour and a half after that, I'm punishing myself for doing so. And so I'm in
But
this
you
like
needed
guilt
it.
I'm in this guilt and recrimination circle here where now I'm even more stressed out and like tomorrow I have to do like accomplish so much more. So yeah.
Because we think we constantly have to be productive, especially when you've whipped yourself into that frenzy of like, I worked until 11 last night. I was up at 4:30 this morning. Like, I can do it. If you have like a really, really productive day and then have a slightly less productive day the next day, the contrast makes it seem like you have done absolutely nothing. And it's 100% just a rewiring of your brain to look at that as productive recovery and
Mm,
not productive work.
okay. And obviously that seems like a longer project. Like I'm not going to convince my brain tomorrow that like me playing Brotato for 30 minutes makes me a better person. Don't get the ad version, people. Get the premium version because then you can put the game down. Uh, so
Rotate. Okay. Is
it's
Brotato now?
sorry.
What is Brotato?
Oh, it's a horrible like top-down shooter game.
Okay.
Where yeah, like waves of stuff, you pick up equipment. It's horrible. It's horrible. But if you get the premium version and not the ad version, then it doesn't give you any ability to like upscale your character that much. So it's like really very much a game that like, oh, I played it and I'm done. Right? Like,
Oh, perfect.
yeah. I,
There was
I
a lot of concern about Brotato.
I know, I know.
I'm
I
glad
see
you
that.
described it.
All right. Maybe we need to start a thread. So here we go. So maybe we need to start a thread in the pie community for soft brain TV Rex. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Um, I don't know if this counts as soft brain, and Kathleen knows this one, but like honestly, I really love Taskmaster. Um, I really love rewatching old seasons of Taskmaster, even if I know the winner. And now there's a Taskmaster Junior, and my kids like giggle and laugh about it so much. So, absolutely, absolutely joyous, joyous stuff. I also do like the Hannah Gadsby comedy episode when I just want to like have like a random joke that's going off every couple minutes while I'm doing so. So yeah. All right. So here we are. So let's go with other things though, right? Like so the deadlines are very real at this time of year, right? Like the work is coming fast and furious. I know that I have a bid due tomorrow. I'm going to have one due the next week. I'm going to have one due mid December, right? That's like pretty major. Yeah, like stuff is just going to keep coming. So there's, it's really hard to like set a boundary around that right now.
Yes. But also no,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I think we're just afraid to set those boundaries, right? Like I received an RFP. It's due. I got it this week, like on Tuesday. It's due next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And after proposals are submitted, the expectation is that firms who have shortlisted will present on Monday, December 2nd, or Tuesday, December, whatever
Mm,
December 2nd is either next Monday or the Monday or Tuesday after Thanksgiving in the US. And so I reached out to the procurement officer and I was like, hey, are you aware that the schedule doesn't give you any time for your teams to prepare for this interview? Because I was trying to figure out if it was wired, and he legitimately was like, "Oh no, I just didn't think it was that big of a lift." And so I explained that typically he's not going to want like a generic deck in his interview. Like if he wants that, then why bother with the proposal process and shortlisting people?
mhm.
Uh, and it didn't change anything, unfortunately, but he just legitimately didn't know and was like, cool, I plan to review these over the holiday weekend, so everybody will be fine with that. Going back to this culture of if I'm working this weekend, you can work this weekend too.
Yeah, yeah.
we need to start pushing back on it. I think a lot of yes people have said yes to that, and we've created this culture of making that normal,
Yeah,
and we all kind of have to work together to change it. And it's going to be scary. It's going to suck. I am terrified I'm going to lose a client or two from saying, no, I'm not taking your holiday stuff.
yeah, yeah. Fair, fair.
Just clear. Like it's if no one responds to those bids, maybe they'll re-put them out at a more appropriate time. I don't know.
I think I'm a Gen X, but I think this is a place where I need to learn from like the millennials slash Gen Zs,
Gen Z man has got it dialed in.
like of setting boundaries of like, hey, I'm not working today. Like as much as so both my wife and my co-dad are managers of large organizations. And so they sometimes like will come home and rant about like blah blah blah, bad work ethic, don't show up for work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And agreed, you shouldn't just like quiet. It's not quiet quitting, but actual like quitting without like
Yeah.
good news. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, these people are paving the way for us to like have healthier work life balances because we don't. We don't.
I think I told you about this morning. Taco Club had a meeting yesterday. There's a taco club in Berkey.
Yeah.
But our youngest board member is Gen Zer, and she holds like a high level position at some nonprofit. But she was telling me about her routine where she gets like an average of 10 hours of sleep at night. And she took a lunchtime nap, and then she took a nap before Taco Club because she had just like was exhausted because she's also an introvert and had meetings all day. And she is always the most level, calm person ever. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how did you figure out how to do that? Like, nobody cares that you just disappeared for an hour during your lunch?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, we're the only ones who know that we're offline for an hour. Like, we cannot respond to emails for an hour.
Kristen just put that in the chat. So Kathleen, I'll hit her point first. So Kathleen says, for the past couple of years, I've wondered if there's a connection between our burnout, our profession's focus on win rates, top performers, and high functioning anxiety of the yes requirements of our profession. Yes, I 100. I don't know the academic paper, but I am sure that this is true. Like, an- anecdotally, this feels like very seen in this moment. I resonate with this a lot. So, yeah, there's something there about like the fact that we're always there to win and stuff like that. And we always have to say yes to like whatever crazy request comes across the table. All right. So Kristen is talking exactly about what you just said, Rochelle, which is anyone else work under the radar, i.e., away or offline on Teams so you don't get pinged or don't feel inclined to respond immediately. That's my jive recently, especially in the mornings when I'm planning resetting for the day. So I probably should do this, and I don't. What I do instead is I try to like book blocks of time, but I noticed that like people do sometimes still like ping me during that time period. Um, Even if I don't, but maybe on it, like it's funny, Kristen. Like even reading this, I get a little bit of anxiety about it, which is so bad because you're 100% right. I should be securing that time because I'm much better when I organize my day around my thoughts, when I am like kind of clear headed and understanding. I had one of the a proposal internal proposal person that I work with reach out to me for help recently, and of course I love to help. Like if someone holds up their hand and is like waving their hand desperate for needs, like let's jump in. And the funny thing is, it actually is a little bit cathartic to like deal with someone else's problem. Like it feels,
Yeah.
but honestly, they had done a good job and like their bid was actually in relatively good shape. There were like a couple like loose strings, but like not as much as they actually thought. But it was really just a matter of like them talking through it. And what I realized is they were just organizing the project in their head. Like they just needed to like have a moment to like kind of process that mentally, and that made them feel better, right? And then yeah, like I could take on one action item of the 20 that they had, and it felt amazing for them, right? Like,
And
but
I'm sure they were grateful for that one action item. I would
sure,
be. No.
yeah. All right. Good times. So, anyways, we've got Stephen. I believe that the children are our future. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. All right. Anyways, so yeah, I I think that the takeaway for me then is, yeah, I just need to reach out to my support network in whatever way it exists, and also just not put any kind of judgment on my behaviors or actions over the next little while, right? Like, so I will attempt to like do some self-care. If I don't get to it, I'm not going to guilt myself into the fact that I didn't do it. Nor am I going to guilt to myself that when I seem to crash, and I go to it. That seems to be it. Is that sort of the idea, Rochelle? Like,
Much. It's I know it sounds really woo-woo, but it's a lot of just like recognizing that downtime is important and
yeah.
downtime is recovery. It's not actually like unproductive. It
Mhm.
is your brain rewiring itself. It is your body resetting itself. So it's just hard for us to think about that. But
Yeah. Fair. Fair. All right. It is 5 minutes to go. So before I launch into the tales from the pitch, I just wanted to say this. So we are frantically working behind the scenes on RFP 101. And Rochelle handed me one of the educational pieces because it's like the thing that I love to do as an extrovert. And that is to reach out to procurement officers and make them my friends.
I aspire. I
Yeah.
think all I ever do is upset procurement people, and I try so hard not to.
So, it's fair. It's fair. And so this starts honestly like very early in the bid, with like really, really friendly emails that slowly get just a tiny bit more casual every time like I talk to them. And it is a process of like slowly humanizing me to them so that they can slowly humanize themselves to them. And I had this fantastic exchange just today with someone on the East Coast, where I went to try to start like the test upload yesterday for a bid that is due on Friday, and the link did not work. Um, and so I reached out to this person on the phone number that they provided, and found out that it was their personal cell. And so I was getting them with like kids in the back seat of their vehicle, and like stuff happening. Anyways, and not only that, they saw that the call was from Canada, they're a US company, and they were like, malicious spammer. Uh, and then, of course, I mispronounced their name because I've never spoken to them in person. I've only seen it in an email. And yeah, all in all, it led to like a rather terse exchange. But we got there. Like we were laughing at the end of it and stuff like that. And then today, um, I just sent an email, and it just was a reminder to me that as much as we feel that there's pressure, and it's real, they are also feeling pressure on their end. Your procurement team is also suffering. They don't want to be doing a bid over the holidays. It is probably because like either their company didn't make a procurement decision or something else. They're having difficulties with requirement gathering because their steering committee also is like going on and off between like Thanksgiving and whatever else. So yeah, just a reminder: your procurement team is human. Feel free to take a moment to like just remind them that you appreciate them and all the work they do. Um, but yeah, good times. I got a great reply back from from this procurement officer when I just said, "I understand that your job is really hard, and I am sorry that this is happening to you." So, all
Empathy
right,
goes a long way. I love that.
yeah. Again, it's the breadcrumbs, small little humanizing actions all the way along. And it's funny, by the fourth email, this person was already telling me in like a global email to everyone, like that, hope you have a happy Halloween. Like that's how long this procurement is run. So we're getting there. We're getting there. All right. You know what? We might miss the tales from the pitch today. I will get you another one soon enough. But it is top of the hour. Hope that you're all doing safe. Hope you're doing better than me through this weekend. Hope that you are able to put down your bids. Hope that you're able to like focus on the things that are important to you, whatever they may be. Who knows? Maybe you are a person that gets reinvigorated by your bids. If so, congratulations. But do try to take some self care. Rochelle, any final thoughts before we close out?
Just be kind to yourselves, y'all. Just breathe.
Yeah,
Just breathe.
just
I'm
breathe.
gonna go take a nap like Gen Z are right now. So I give all of you permission to go take a nap. I don't
Show
know if I'm
off.
gonna actually do that, but we're gonna
Yeah.
try.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. lots of love to all of you out there. Be safe. We are going to try to do some fun things in Pi into the holidays. We usually go into a little bit of a hibernation period. We'll do a holiday episode where we just tell you what we're planning on doing starting the new year. And we do have a lot of plans, a lot of stuff that we're working on with the Baker's Dozen and everything like that. But yeah, y'all take care of yourself. Happy thanks. I guess we won't have an episode next week, will we?
No, you scheduled one, but I was gonna say I will be with my family, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's okay.
I'm canceling it. I'm canceling it. So happy
We'll
Thanksgiving,
see you all
y'all.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, be safe out there. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Adios.